Hey youth, how are you? It's Mr. Lohan. I'm out here in the middle of the woods on a sunny day, enjoying the sunny climb, if you will, as in climate. Play on words there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. So what I want to talk to you today is well, a couple things. I want to um, touch base with you on the technical issues. Obviously, the Gmail has collapsed into this G Suite. Sounds like a really lousy gang name. But nevertheless, we're probably going to be back online soon. And before we do that, I just wanted to touch base with you a little bit on the Romeo and Juliet. Um, we were talking a little bit about the nature of the community in Verona at the time. And again, like I said, there's no police force. So these families were basically in charge of certain sections of the city. They were probably accented in certain businesses, um, and they conducted themselves accordingly. There were kings and princes that they referred to, but these weren't like kings and princes of an absolute nature like we would see in England or Spain or France. Italy, I mean, except for the Roman Empire and for recently, it's just been um, non-existent. It's just basically different sections. Like I would never. It's like America. It's like if I wouldn't consider myself an American, I would consider myself a New Yorker or New Jerseyan or a Montanan, right? Yes, I'm American, but my loyalty is to my state, and that's the way it was with in Italy. There was no real Italy. It was basically this peninsula divided up into a bunch of different states, mostly city states, and Rome, Venice, and so on and so forth. So in Verona, we have a similar situation. Most people are very poor. Most people are, you know, merchants, peasants, and then you get, your middle level of merchants, upper level merchants within the wealthy. Um, and again, we were talking a little bit about the sword play that would occur. And, it's not that foreign. I mean, we had situations like this, where we have the Bloods and the Crips, and we have gangs, we have Latin Kings, we have other gangs, and they have their territory. Um, and then some groups wield more influence than other groups, but it's not to the level that it was in Verona. In Verona, the gangs pretty much, you when you paid your taxes at the end of the year, you weren't really giving them to the authority. You were giving them to the family that ran the neighborhood, kind of like a protection racket. Um, and every once in a while, things would get out of control, and then the prince would have to step in, or the authority would have to step in and be like, okay, who's bringing this on? And in this case, it's two families, the Capulets and the Montagues, and they're duking it out, and they're having a really hard time making the peace. And so they're at war. And as you saw in the BBC version, I mean, like, it wasn't just like kids, young men fighting on the streets. They would kill other people on the streets that got in the way. And you really can't have that. It's like with the mafia. Like when I was growing up, we knew the mafia was around. We knew that there was a Cosa Nostra. We knew where the boundary lines between the families were and that sort of thing. Whose dad was involved, whose dad was really involved, um, and that sort of thing. But you never, ever got involved with civilians, okay? If civilians got hurt or you hurt a cop, that's it, all bets were off. And and it was smart because you don't want the fire to get out of control. But what I wanted to talk about was swords and the um, the benefit of the rapier sword, Rapier from the French, And let me see if I can find one. Hold on. Yeah, I got one right here. And again, the benefit of this is I got a lot, you know, it's a little bit of steel. Okay, obviously maybe a little bit longer than this. But normally in combat, I would show up with a shield and a two-handed sword, right? Or single-handed broadsword, right? Slashing, mostly, stabbing. But I would confront my enemy head on. In this particular case, I can't really have a shield. Okay, I might have some armor in a form of a buckler on this side, maybe on this side, but I need to have that flexibility. You understand? I gotta have that flexibility because with this weapon, my attacks need to be very surgical. Yes, there is slashing, but it's on the tip right here. It's not along the blade. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to stand in a position of strength. And for me, kind of like a boxing stance, I confront my enemy from the side. You understand? I confront my enemy from the side and I bend my knees. All right? So my hand on the back acts as a balance. Okay? Almost like the tail of a scorpion. Okay? I'm gonna get you. All right? I'm good. Whoa! Look out. All right? So, you know, where's the eye? Where's the eye? What am I looking at? Okay? So when I strike, I move the leg forward like this. So you see my whole body goes forward and I use the middle of my body as a weight. So I strike like that. All right? If I slash, okay, I'm not using my hands. I'm not really even using my arms. I'm using my back. Okay? And remember, I got to maintain a low, almost like a spring-like stature. Okay? Maybe the hand goes behind. Okay? But I'm blocking, right? And it doesn't take much because remember, all the action's on this end. So if I'm going in on someone, last minute, wax on. Last minute, wax off. And if you've overcommitted and I'm stabbing you, then what? I've just exposed this whole side to myself. Okay? So you got to watch. I want to stab you, but I don't want to overcommit. I don't want to be off balance. Okay? I want to maintain a position of strength in the middle and strike. And slash. And defend. Wax on, wax off. You see? So again, it's much more surgical, right? It's much more delicate. It's much more of a it's much more artistic than it was in the Middle Ages. Yes, you had your knights and you had your armor and your horses, and that was all very good. But as the technology developed, the blades became thinner, and therefore I could make more of them. And it made for very excellent street fighting. Of course, I'll have knives. You know, those will always be around. But if I wanted to represent as a member of wealth and nobility, then I had to have something that stood out, but then could also be very easily put away. You know, something I could pull out at a moment's notice, but then also put back. And again, it's very you know, I can stand, you know, almost artistically. I'm an artist more than just a fighter. And that was the thing. When you look at Benvolio and Romeo and Mercutio and Tybalt and all the rest of them, they're gonna kill you, right? And that's their job. They gotta kill you. But maybe I'll kill you with a sense of style, right? Maybe I'll take you down slow. Maybe I'll cut you up a little bit and embarrass you before you go down. Maybe I'll even let you live, just so I can really let you bask in your shame. So take a look. We'll look at the rest of Act 1. And like in most Shakespeare, we're setting up the scene. Okay? We're setting up the scene. Who is Romeo? Who is Tybalt? Mercutio? Juliet? The nurse? Um, the priest? All these characters are now very far away. But before they come together, we need to figure out who they are and why they are. Why did Shakespeare put these characters in? Okay, like the rapier, he has to be very surgical in his language. He could be very surgical in the placement of characters and their dialogue. There's no wasted space. Okay, I can't afford to just have like talking for no reason, right? Why? All right, kids, I'll catch you on the upside. Keep it frosty.